South Korea's opposition party is calling for President Yoon's impeachment now after he declared martial law about a budget fight. The order was lifted 6 hours later after the parliament voted against the measure. The political chaos also played out in the markets, impacting the currency of South Korea and stocks. Joining us now, CNBC contributor Michelle Caruso-Cabrera, CEO of MCC Global Enterprises.
Good morning.
We didn't see this one coming.
If we met before, I think we have. We go way back, obviously. In many places around the world, when we look and see things happening, it's confusing for yes. Americans because we take for granted. I mean, we have our issues in this country, obviously, but martial law based on his political opposition, he's calling them criminals. They want budget cuts, communists. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to declare martial law and control the media and whatever that entails, which is a big deal. And it lasts 6 hours.
It was very short-lived, yes, because he didn't have the support of the
parliament. Can you explain?
When I saw the headline that he declared martial law, I was like, what did North Korea do?
Right, exactly.
That was my immediate reaction. Then I was like, what?
That is the question. When North Korea sees this instability with all these troops still amassed on the, what is it, the demarcate, whatever that line.
DMZ.
Yeah, the DMZ.
Yes. So obviously the whole world was taken by surprise, right? He does it late time Korea, right? It's I think your show's almost over when he does it. And then the Korean won was off by 7%. All of the internationally traded Korean stocks that were listed in London or here in the United States sold off by 7%. The parliament reacted in the middle of the night, voted against martial law, and as a result, he had to withdraw the whole thing, all before the Korean market ever actually had a chance to react. The Central Bank of Korea came out and said, we're going to provide as much liquidity as we need. The market authority came out and said, don't worry, the market's going to open on time. And as you can see, there actually isn't a huge reaction in the Korean stock market today because, poof, it was over from by the time they went to bed to the time they woke up in the morning. But still, it caused it pushed U.S. yields lower because people were concerned about what was happening. Is this because of North Korea? People in Korea or South Korea are still waiting for a good explanation as to, what were you thinking?
Right.
Because now it looks like his days are numbered. His party looks like it's going to abandon him. It's not clear they have enough votes to impeach him, but if enough people defect from his party, then he can
Right. There were only a few people, like his defense minister who he went to high school with, and a few other people within his own ranks who knew what was going on.
Yeah, no, it was incredibly confusing to them, to the whole world. Yeah. And I'm sure, he's a conservative. He's a pro-business conservative. He's pro-deregulation, et cetera. And I'm sure that it, caught him by surprise. I'm not sure he realized just the terrible, terrible market reaction that he unleashed as a result of doing this, out of nowhere in the middle of the night.
What caused the initial, budgetary concerns to become so front and center? What does he want? What is the opposition pushing for? Are there any similarities to us here when we do Doge? Are we going to?
So there's a progressive party. The party that used to be in power was progressive, and they want to rely more on government programs to solve problems, whereas he is more about deregulation, et cetera.
This all sounds familiar to me.
Yes. By the way, it's the same problem in France.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
France too.
Which you also have a
I know that I saw that you're going to draw some parallels. Tell us, expound.
Well, so today there's going to be a vote in France where the government may collapse. They're going to have a no confidence vote to the prime minister. It'll be the shortest premiership since, 1950s, 3 months.
Just came through, July was the elections, the last legislative elections. They can't hold them again until next July.
Yeah, I suppose the good news in France is you can only dissolve the government once a year. So they have to wait until July before they're going to have new elections. But they also have big budget fights going on, which is one of the similar drivers between that and South Korea, is they're fighting over how to cut the spending levels in France, which are horrific. They've got
6%.
Their deficit is 6% of GDP.
Lower than ours.
Yeah, the rule in Europe is supposed to be 3% of GDP, so they're way over. He's just trying to get it down to 5% of GDP. And there was, $60 billion worth of either tax hikes or tax cuts. They're going to, they nationalized the gas company, so they're going to extract another $2 billion of dividends from the gas company. They wanted to cut the number of teachers. They wanted to increase the amount that people had to pay for their prescriptions, which was a no-go for Marine Le Pen. They wanted to raise electricity taxes. That's all, she said that's not going to happen. And so now the right and the left look like they're going to gang up, vote him, vote no confidence for him. And so you end up with some kind of caretaker government with emergency powers to do the basics until they can figure out what's next. The reason we're talking so much about France is because their debt now trades almost worse than Greece.
Right, and it's the second largest economy in the euro.
Right. I would not say we're on the verge of a eurozone crisis. The 10-year yield in France, if we can put it up, is like 3%. Nobody's terrified. It's trading at a premium to Germany. It's the biggest premium that we've seen in a very long time. And yes, it trades worse than Greece, which has been rectifying itself for the last 15 years. But you have to worry about an economy that doesn't grow. They haven't grown since 2008. They just don't grow. And they are emblematic of all of the problems that Europe faces right now, which is, they're calcifying before.
Well, we've almost spanned the globe with similar issues about overspending and debt to GDP and all these things. I don't know what it says for global currency fluctuation. I guess we're not as bad then. We'll stay the reserve currency. But if everyone is overspent and are going to have to inflate their currencies, what does that mean about a global slowdown?
Race to the bottom. Well, call me a professor of the obvious, but when money costs nothing all over the world.
You're a professor of the obvious. You're our professor of the obvious. Did you want me to call you that, or that was just an expression?
Anticipating that.
Okay.
Interest rates were so low all over the world, so people borrowed and borrowed and borrowed because they thought there were no consequences.
Goes where it shouldn't go.
And now we're all living with the overhang, and the hangover, shall we say?
So in addition to making us multiplanetary to save the human species, Elon may also save the world from its overspending with Doja.
So what Elon is doing is very interesting, or what he's going to try to do is very interesting, because he's going to try to cut the federal government by 30%, right? There's only one place in the world that's been done recently, and that's Argentina. Yeah. The new president of Argentina. Right. Do you know how much he cut the budget? 30%? He did it in 1 month. 1 month. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how do you cut a budget 30% in 1 month, because there's so many, for every dollar in the federal budget, there is a constituency. There's a legislator who wants to defend that dollar, right? And what it takes is an enormous amount of political will. He's got a president, you've got a president in Argentina who, did you see the cover of The Economist this week? The headline is, "My hate for the state is infinite." Yeah. That's his quote. And so they've been extremely aggressive about cutting. They fired 30,000 federal workers. It's what
the question is the reaction in the economy and whether he will continue to have support.
So that's what's been very interesting. His polls have fallen a little bit, but considering how much government spending has been cut, the recession wasn't nearly as bad as you might think. Mm-hmm. The World Bank was estimating this year they might have a decline of 4.5%, considering you were going to have if you remember, if you took macroeconomics, Y equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M, right? If you cut G by 30%, you're going to hurt the economy. However, they expect the economy to recover by next year because it's also come
Argentina
with a big,
was so messed up.
They're doing massive deregulatory work.
We need to cut it
well.
before.